Well, thank you very much. We've just had a great meeting, a really good, very productive meeting. We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. And I wanted to congratulate the mayor. He really ran an incredible race against, a lot of smart people, starting with the early primaries against some very tough people, very smart people. And he beat them easily. And I congratulated him. And we talked about some things in very strong common, like housing and getting housing built, and food and prices, and the price of oil is coming way down.
Hey, welcome to Courageous Media. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. Thanks so much for being here. Please smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Just wanted to touch base. We're going to discuss this Mamdami Oval Office meeting because several of you have asked me questions about this, what I thought of it. What was Trump doing? How could he possibly meet with this person? So we're going to dive into all this, my thoughts, my opinions on the matter, my speculation, because frankly, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't know exactly what went on behind closed doors in the Oval Office. All we can look at is the press conference afterwards, and then we're going to check out some of Mamdami's comments after that. But suffice it to say that I think this meeting went exactly the way Donald Trump wanted it to. I think President Trump just owned Mamdami in a way that he's not even sure that he just got owned. Although some of the libs out there are already realizing it. They're already realizing that the great socialist, jihadist, anti-American experiment in New York might just be over a little prematurely. But let me know what you think. Really appreciate you rolling up. All right, let's check this out because I want to dive into this first. To set the stage for the Oval Office Trump-Mamdami meeting, we have to realize this wasn't Trump's request. This was Mamdami begging for the meeting. Mamdami asked for the meeting. Trump didn't. Trump doesn't need to meet with Mamdami. Trump doesn't care that much. To him, Mamdami's a mosquito on the wall. But Mamdami, on the other hand, has realized very quickly, now that he is mayor-elect of New York City, that he doesn't have hardly any power. He has a name, he has some notoriety, but when it comes to actual power, he has very little in terms of changing budgetary policy. Now, he can change policy within the city. He has a great deal of power to destroy New York or to make it better in the way that he charges the police to do business, in the way that he charges the police, let's say, to cooperate with ICE or not, and some of those things. But the great socialist utopia experiment, he can't do without money. And that money has to come either from tax increases from the state, which Governor Hochul's already said, not going to happen, or it has to come from more money from the feds, which ain't going to happen. So I think Mamdami's realized that, this whole thing is probably over before it ever began. But check this out. This was from Trump, Communist Mayor of New York, Zohran Kwame Mamdami, has asked for a meeting. We have agreed that this meeting will take place in the Oval Office on Friday, November 21st. Further details to follow. So that is the meeting we are going to be covering. Mamdami, the all-powerful mayor of New York, if you listen to the liberal nutcases, basically begged Trump for a meeting. Please let me come meet with the fascist, dictator, evil orange man, as he has said over and over again, that Trump is a fascist, Trump is a despot, Trump is a dictator, Trump is evil, Trump is highly dangerous. So Mamdami wanted to go meet with him for some reason. I don't know why, but check this out. So let's dive into this first clip. And that is, we're going to get to a couple clips of the actual meeting. We're going to do so through PBD. Had a couple of great thoughts on this, but they also had a couple of the clips that I want to get to. So let's dive right in. All right, here we go.
Donnie, we haven't covered it yet. He comes to the White House to meet with the president. He requested to meet with the president. The president, of course, says, yes, no problem. He's from New York. The president made his wealth in New York. He came up in New York. He has a lot of history in New York. And so Mamdami's like, I definitely have to come meet with this guy to try to find things, to make things work out. And while they're having conversations, there's a moment where one of the reporter asks a question about, look, you've called the president a fascist. And he gets ready to explain himself. And this shows you how comfortable president is in his own skin. He's like, just say what you want to say. Don't argue with it. You're going to have to do this your entire life. And watch what happens. This was a very, very special moment that went viral on Twitter. Go ahead, Rob.
To Stephen Nelson, he asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about.
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And Mr. President, I wanted to ask you.
Slapped a little arm.
Do you see? Mamdami is like, you're okay.
Yeah.
There was another.
Now, it's absolute, this moment, I thought, a lot of people think it's cute. Oh, it's endearing. No. This is the moment right here that I believe Trump ultimately owned Mamdami. And that is because Trump basically said, go ahead and say what you want to say. You want to call me a fascist? Go right ahead. Trump is ultimately comfortable in his own skin. Trump knows who he is. He is the leader of the free world. He is essentially the president of the world. Trump is the one out there brokering peace deals all over the place. Trump is the one remaking the American economy. Trump is the one that is getting rid of illegal immigrants to the tune of America had a net migration over the last 9 months of minus 2.5 million people. 2.5 million left the United States in terms of net immigration. Trump is the one that has the power. Trump knows he has the power. Trump knows that Mamdami begged for the meeting. Mamdami shows up to the White House, hat in hand. And they're in their little press conference. They want to get the gotcha moment. The press does. You called Trump a fascist. Is that true? Do you still think that? And Trump just pats him on the arm. Go ahead, say what you want to say. Because in that moment, he proved to the entire world that all of this blustering talk from even the most ardent left-wing liberal socialist nut jobs is nothing but play acting. They don't care about you. They don't care about, Mamdami does not care about the people of New York City. Mamdami doesn't care about any of that. Mamdami is a plant. Mamdami answers to the globalist cabal of corruptocrats. So they are going to say whatever they have to say to denigrate the United States and to oppose Trump. And so Trump, basically in having the meeting in the Oval Office with Mamdami, Trump smiling, being cordial, being nice, and pats Mamdami on the arm, says, go ahead, say what you want to say. You want to call me a fascist? Go right ahead, because now the entire American public can know it for what it is, an absolute bogus lie. If Trump was actually a fascist, if he was actually a dictator, if he was actually as full of hate as the left thinks he is, Trump would A, not have taken the meeting, period. And B, based on a clip that went, from Kristen Welker afterwards, Mamdami would be in prison. If Trump was actually a fascist, none of this would have been able to take place. And the American people can see it for what it is. It's nothing more than an empty shill. That's all these people are. They are empty suits playing for a group of puppet masters, and they are in it for the money and the power and to destroy America. All right, let's keep going.
The moment where they talked about behind closed doors, Rob, where they had agreements, where he asked the question on, the president won the votes over for people that were struggling with affordability. You know which one I'm talking about, Rob? I think you do have it.
I have where Mamdani says that the meeting was productive towards the end.
Okay, let's watch this. Go for it.
Please.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City, and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the president, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
And by the way, there's a clip where Trump says he would be comfortable living in New York.
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views, but in many ways, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me.
So I don't know exactly what they talked about in closed doors, but the fact that Trump says, hey, we agreed on a lot more than I thought, could absolutely be true. Realize that the populist agenda, the idea of it's the guys on the bottom versus the guys on the top. It's not, it's not the old capitalist trope of, it's the working class versus the capitalist versus the business owner. No, no, no. Because America has essentially democratized business ownership. Anybody can start a business. Do they all become huge? No. But your local contractor, your local plumber, your local electrician, your local shop owner, as they said, right before World War II, the Nazis, the Germans thought of America as a bunch of weak idiots. We were a bunch of shop owners. That's all we were. We were a bunch of merchants. They didn't realize that those merchants actually had a backbone and would defend their country and would reorient the American economy to defeat them, which we did. So there is nothing wrong that America has democratized business ownership. The idea of capitalism being owned by a slight few at the top is nonsense. Now, are there extremely wealthy people in America? Sure. And would we love to shrink that wealth gap? Yes, we'd love to do it using market forces. So when Trump says we got a lot more in common, when it comes to the affordability idea, when it comes to I want to speak out for the little guy versus the billionaire, Trump is absolutely on that bandwagon. In fact, he's the one that started that bandwagon. But and so that populist agenda, that economic populism idea, is very similar, right versus left. Now, where it's going to take a sharp turn, and what I would love to see what was discussed was how this is going to play out with the woke social agenda and how much Mamdami is going to be on board with that, and what's going to happen when it comes to illegal immigration and the crackdown on that and handling crime. If Mamdami skews far left on that, if he opposes ICE, if he lets people out of prison, if he goes to this no cash bail nonsense, then Trump will oppose him hard and will withhold federal money. If he tries to double down on the woke nonsense, letting boys play in girls' sports, be in locker rooms in New York City, Trump will withhold that money. Trump will use that money as cudgels to get Mamdami to do the one thing that he wants, which realize that if he gets Mamdami to agree to allow ICE to pull people out of prisons, out of Rikers without a fight, without riots in the streets, or if he basically gets Mamdami to say, yeah, I'll accept the National Guard in helping to curb crime. Now it's Trump that fixed New York City, not Mamdami. And Mamdami rolling over to Trump on that or the woke socialist agenda will have the libs melting down and calling Mamdami a traitor. Now, that's what I think. Let me know what you think. If everybody could please smash that like button for me, subscribe, turn on the notifications. It really helps us with YouTube if you watch all our videos all the way through, like and comment and share them. Now, right after the Oval Office meeting, and I want to get to this clip because some of the PBD podcast had some good comments on this. So after the Oval Office meeting, Meet the Depressed with Kristen Welker brings Mamdami on, and I want you to hear his comments on the whole fascist idea.
In that press conference with President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer, then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay, you can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do.
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
You've also said in the past that President Trump has engaged in a, quote, attack on our democracy. You've called him a despot. Do you still believe President Trump is a threat to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe. And that's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table.
So here it is. So this is Trump masterclass. This is the masterclass right here. Trump gets him in the Oval Office. Trump is cordial. Trump is nice. Trump is patting him on the arm. While Trump is sitting down, Mamdami's standing. So Mamdami looks like a little school kid, standing in the principal's office. Or probably a better analogy would be, Mamdami looks like, the little boy standing in the office with his dad. His dad's sitting down. His dad is the power player. Trump is the power in this scenario. Mamdami is the nothing. And so when Mamdami gets asked a hard question, Trump pats him on the arm. Say whatever you want. Go ahead, say it, because I'm going to prove to the world that none of this is true. And so Mamdami goes on Meet the Depressed and basically gets called out. Do you really believe he's a fascist? Oh, yes, I believe he's a fascist. But what I really like is that we can disagree on stuff. And no. That's the whole point. Being a fascist is nothing more than a euphemism for they don't like our leftist policy. And that's what America is waking up to realize. They're realizing that when they are called racist or fascist or despot or you're anti-democracy or you're a danger to our democracy, all it means is you don't toe the liberal leftist party line. And so America's over it. Trump is going to remake the language so that you can call people fascist and racist and all this other nonsense, and it'll roll off people like water off a duck's back because they realize that there's nothing to it. It's absolute fraud. Now, check this out from PBD because I thought they had some good takes on this as well.
Trump knew exactly what he was doing because when Mamdani fails, which he will, he no longer can blame Trump. Trump could have gone super hard on the guy. But he's like, come on, buddy, we're friends, right?
Yeah.
Got you.
I want him to
Trump
succeed.
knows, I want you to do good. Yeah. I'm here for you. So now he can't play the victim. You saw he treated me horribly. I went there. He disrespected me. Now he has more rhetoric for his people. Now he has to say, yeah, I met with the fascist. And he actually was nice.
Yeah.
This nice fascist. So he took his power away. He neutralized him. Now he can't play the victim. Smart move by Trump.
But how do you feel about saying fascist, threat to democracy, and still having that
I think
language?
if this was first term, he handles it in a different way. President does. I think it's second term. And meaning, when it's second term, you already have your base. You don't need to win your base over. So some people in his base are going to be like, what are you doing? I can't believe you gave him this. And, why you treat him so respectfully? Do you not understand what's going on? There's a bunch of people right now running as socialists, just so you know, as socialists. And some socialists are upset with him for how friendly he was with Trump.
Bingo.
They're upset with him and AOC because both him and AOC are now supportive of Hakeem Jeffries, even though Hakeem Jeffries is running against a socialist right now. And they're not siding with the socialists.
Exactly. Trump is triangulating this whole thing. So socialist communist Zoran Mamdami realized the day that he became mayor that he has very little power. Governor Hochul basically told him to go pound sand and sit in the corner. She wasn't going to raise taxes. She wasn't going to chase any more businesses or billionaires out of the state, although they're leaving in droves anyway, because they're afraid of what Mamdami's going to do on the crime front and that he's going to turn New York even more into California or Washington, D.C. before the Trump crackdown than ever. But so you've got, so basically Hochul told him, no, we're not raising taxes. No, you cannot have free subways and buses. Not going to happen. We need that. We need the money from the fares to actually keep the system running. And then he's got Trump basically saying, I'm just going to defund New York. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to take all the money away from New York State and New York City. So Mamdami's realized that he has very little power, and he's already bent the knee to Trump. He's already bent the knee to Hochul, and now he's bent the knee to the establishment Democrat politicians. Oh, no. We don't necessarily need to primary Hakeem Jeffries. Check this out, because the leftists, the libs, are melting down over this, and it is absolutely beautiful. Mamdami is already a traitor in some of their books. Check this out.
Also appeared to discourage his fellow Democratic Socialists of America member on Monday. Quote, I believe that there are many ways right here in New York City to both deliver on an affordability agenda and take on the authoritarian administration in the White House, Mamdani told reporters of ASE. Ocasio-Cortez told Axios during a brief interview at the U.S. Capitol that she was not aware that ASE was challenging Jeffries, but she added, I certainly don't think a primary challenge to the leader is a good idea right now. Ocasio demurred on other races, declining to weigh in on whether she would support New York City Comptroller Brad Lander if he runs against Representative Dan Goldman. Ossie filed paperwork with the Federal Election Commission on Monday to run for Jeffries' district, which covers portions of Brooklyn. He said in a statement he is exploring a run because Democratic leadership is not only failing to effectively fight back against Donald Trump, they have also failed to deliver a vision that we can all believe in. Jeffries, who had previously repeatedly dismissed the notion of an Ossie primary challenge, told reporters at a press conference Monday, "Come on in, the water is warm." So here's why this is disappointing. This guy who's running against Hakeem Jeffries, Zoran, that was you. That was you. You were running against the golden child. You were running against the establishment's man. You were running against Andrew Cuomo. You also ran against, Eric Adams, for example. So with this sort of mindset that you're now applying to this guy, people applied it to you and they said, what are you doing? We already have our candidates. We already have Eric Adams. We already have Andrew Cuomo. They represent the Democratic brand. Like, just let them cook. But you said, no, it's not good enough. They're not good enough. They don't fight Trump. They don't deliver on actual leftist values. We're going to stand up and actually represent something, and we're going to change the Democratic Party, and we're going to have our Democratic Tea Party moment.
But now they're not, because already you've got Mamdami realizing he doesn't have the power, and he's bowing to the establishment wing of the Democrat Party. This is going to be really amazing to see where this goes, to see if we get a full-blown actual meltdown, civil war in the Democrat Party. It'll be absolutely interesting. But this is already paying dividends.